We have seen a steady increase in 911 medical calls and pressures on the healthcare system. Emergency call demand continues to grow 2 to 5% annually and is expected to increase by 11% by 2028.
Toronto Paramedic Services says the city is in desperate need of more EMS workers, especially in light of a recent rise in shootings across the city.
It's been a difficult year, lots of difficult calls. We have a number of measures to support our staff internally, but we recognize it has a toll on them.
That's why Mayor Olivia Chow has made a new commitment to hire more paramedics and support staff.
I'm proud to announce a new plan to hire 362 frontline paramedics, superintendents, and support staff over the next 3 years. This is a multi-year hiring plan. That includes, just this year alone, 112 more paramedics.
Last year, Toronto paramedics reported that in 2023, there were 1,200 occasions when an ambulance wasn't available to respond to an emergency call. That was up from only 29 occasions in 2019.
They are under a tremendous amount of pressure right now.
QP Local 416, the union representing 1,400 paramedics working in Toronto, has also reported high instances of burnout in recent years.
And that certainly is something that we're trying to find a solution to and continue to be open to further solutions. These paramedics are the best in Canada, and attracting the next generation of paramedics to Toronto and supporting them through conversations with divisional management in the city helps us to make sure that our members are taken care of.
Chow says this is just one part of a larger push to hire more frontline workers across the board.
We have a comprehensive plan to increase the number of all frontline first responder, which is for this year 52 firefighters, over 360 more police officers. On top of that, we have increased the 211, the crisis community services, which deals with people that have mental health issues.
The staffing plan will cost $52 million to implement, but Chow expects that cost to be shared with the province through its Land Ambulance Services Grant. Tyler Cheese, CBC News, Toronto.
Toronto's bike lanes are filling with riders, but riding alongside many cyclists are people on vehicles that don't need to be pedaled at all. Technically, they aren't allowed, but some think the city needs to do a better job communicating that.
They're dangerous to cyclists, they're dangerous to pedestrians, they don't follow the rules of the road, they don't belong there, but because the rules are confusing, the gig workers don't really clearly understand that what they're doing is illegal and dangerous, and that needs to be clear.
The city's current rules can be a bit hard to follow.
We need a clear, simple, straightforward rule that a 9-year-old can explain. And with that, we then have an opportunity to do the kind of education, then followed by enforcement, that has a chance to make a difference.
While many have concerns about electric vehicles in bike lanes, one speaker aimed to add some nuance while explaining how using their electric vehicle in the bike lane has changed their life for the better.
A front power assist, which is becoming a popular category for wheelchair users for us to get around. My understanding is technically it's not allowed. It's not legal because it's there's 3 wheels and not 2. So some more clarifications, some acknowledgement of different categories like people with mobility issues.
Being a cycling advocate and
others reminding the Infrastructure and Environment Committee to stay focused on the biggest threat to pedestrians and cyclists on Toronto's streets.
Definitely agree that a lot of these vehicles can feel very frustrating and lead to a lot of anger on our roads. But unfortunately, at the end of the day, the people are being killed on our roads because of collisions with drivers and automobiles.
Keeping cars out of bike lanes was also on the agenda during a discussion about the city's parking strategy, something drivers often do in areas meant for cyclists.
The bike lanes, we definitely have more work to do. As these bike lanes expand, these problems will multiply, and we'll have to re-engage and look for information from our partners to focus our officers where we're going to have the biggest impact.
Sachs's motion to clarify bike lane rules passed and will go to council for final approval later this month. Lane Harrison, CBC News, Toronto.
When the warm weather hits and the sun is shining, Nick Liu says he needs outdoor seating for his customers.
In the summertime, it's imperative.
Not only does Liu have his own patio at his restaurant Dalio on College Street, he's also been participating in the Cafe TO program for several years. It allows him to open a second patio on city property, but it's cost him hundreds of dollars more this year to get a Cafe TO permit.
This is something to help the restaurant, not just something to make money for the government.
He says it just adds to his overhead.
All these extra costs, right, affect the bottom line. You know, when you're a small business, especially like a restaurant, you know, your margins are pretty small.
When the Cafe TO program first launched during the pandemic, the city didn't charge restaurant owners anything to open a curbside patio. But that all changed in 2023. That's when the city says it began phasing in its Cafe TO permit requirements. In 2023, restaurant owners were asked to pay a one-time fee to join the program, and there was also a fee per square meter, which was a little over $44 2 years ago. This year, it cost owners a little over $132 per square meter for a permit.
We do want the restaurants that are making a lot of money because they are taking up some of the road spaces to pay a small share of the cost to help put the patio out there. We are still subsidizing these small businesses because it's important to generate support to small business.
The city says the cost of the permits help to pay for things like the loss of revenue from street parking and the cost to have city workers set up safety barricades. The city will not be raising the permit fees again until 2029. Greg Ross, CBC News, Toronto.
It's barely 3 months since Doug Ford led his PCs to their third straight majority, something no leader of any party has done in Ontario since the 1950s.
Well, friends, the people have spoken.
Ford's continued success at the ballot box is why there's so much surprise among his team that there's now a group that wants to push the premier to the right.
The notion that somehow he's on the wrong track is not really shared widely, either in the province of Ontario or across the country.
The group is called Project Ontario. Its webpage says when Conservatives lose their principles, Ontario loses its way. Let's change course. It criticizes housing costs, regulation, taxes, and what it calls ideology in the province's schools.
There's this rump of Conservatives who are just not happy with the direction Doug Ford is taking in the name of conservatism.
Project Ontario describes itself as a grassroots movement. They say they're organizing an assembly this fall to develop policies that apply, quote, conservative values to the most pressing issues facing the province. Their manifesto paints a bleak picture of Ontario as a province with sky-high house prices, punitive tax rates, rising unemployment, and a government that keeps running big deficits. But whoever is behind Project Ontario is a mystery. Its webpage contains no names, and its manifesto is unsigned. I've sent several messages to the organizers, but no one has responded or identified themselves. Those conservative rumblings of discontent don't appear to bother the people around Ford.
He's the most popular conservative in Canada by a country mile. So the notion that that's something that is a problem is, I just think, a testament to how wrong-headed the people involved in that are.
We've got the best economic metrics and fiscal metrics in a couple of decades, so I'm feeling pretty conservative these days.
After winning first in 2018 and then again in 2022 and getting the three-peat this year, polling now puts Doug Ford's approval rating at its highest ever outside the early months of the pandemic. Mike Crowley, CBC News, Toronto.